Hello guys. Today I want to talk about using diatomaceous earth. I want to answer some questions that a lot of my customers keep emailing me and messaging me and asking how to use it, how long does it take, and is it right for me and my situation, my animals, and all that kind of stuff, and some misconceptions that I think that are out there about diatomaceous earth. And I'm also going to talk about if it's not right for you, why using other natural things like homemade balms and like salves and sprays and things like that might be a better choice for you. But anyways, we'll start with how diatomaceous earth works, because that is the most important thing for you to understand, is how it works, and so you can kind of assess if it is right for you or not. So the way it works is it's very, very porous and abrasive, but not to us. It has been ground down. It's almost like little shards of glass that have been ground down to a fine powder. And when a bug, an insect, anything with a soft exoskeleton crawls through it, it slices them up, and it's extremely dehydrating, so it dehydrates them, and that's how they die. So it kills them with physical action. It doesn't kill them with like a chemical action. It's not like it's poisonous to them or anything like that. So if you hear weird noises in the background, I'm working, getting stuff shipped out and mailed out. So anyways, so that's how that works. Now, if you live in a humid climate, that is going to, prolong the fleas and ants and bugs, whatever you're trying to kill. It's going to prolong their life a little bit, because they're going to still be getting moisture and stuff. They're still going to die. It's just going to the process will take longer, compared to living in a nice, dry, arid climate. That's going to be on your side. And I noticed that here in Oklahoma when I use it. There's times when we're extremely humid, and I can see it takes longer for it to work. And then there's times in the dead of summer when we haven't had any rain and it's super dry, and I see results 3 times faster. So it's always been that way. Now, so that's the way it works, and that's something to keep in mind on, where you live and your climate and everything. If you have indoor animals or like an indoor cat that doesn't ever go outside, and you have a climate controlled area that you keep the humidity down, you're going to be fine. If you have a climate controlled area that keeps the humidity down, but your dog goes out to use the restroom and it's extremely humid outside, that is not going to be on your side again, because fleas always breed off the host. They breed in, raise their young in cracks and crevices, and, even in the house, they put them in baseboards and all that kind of stuff, under rugs and in your couch cushions, all that. And same thing with outside. They get down, below the grass level, and like down on the ground around rocks, and, around skirtings of the house and everything like that. So if they go outside and it's super humid and the fleas are thriving, those fleas are going to jump right back on and go back in the house, and you're going to think that this diatomaceous earth isn't working, and they're just going to be reinfesting themselves every trip they make outside. What I do with my flea powder, the way I make it and sell it, is I add a little bit of ground neem and rosemary and lemongrass, and those things do help repel the fleas from wanting to jump on them, but it's still not 100%. I mean, they're still going to want to jump on them. It does help, though. Definitely. You won't get as many. Now, Also, I want to talk about diatomaceous earth is very messy. And if you have a flea infestation, you're going to have to dust your animal several times a week. Maybe even every other day, depending on how bad it is, depending on how humid it is, and all those factors. And you're going to want to put it like in your couch cushions. You're going to want to put it around your baseboards and all that. And it's going to be messy. And you're going to have like dust on your TV and dust on your, shelves and all knickknacks and everything. It's not, to me, it's not harmful. I've been using it for years, for over a decade. And I don't have any trouble. I mean, I've never had any trouble. And my dogs and cats have never had any trouble. No lung problems or anything like that. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's very, very safe. I wouldn't want to just completely dust up the entire house. I mean, once it's settled, and it's not, it's not floating all over the air for days on end. It's just maybe an hour or two, and then it's settled. To me, it far outweighs bombing your house with chemicals. And, people freak out about diatomaceous earth because it'll cause lung problem, this, that, the other. But have you read the back of a can for bombing? It's so bad. I don't know. I just don't think it's that. That's, to me, the misconception. Be responsible. You don't want to, use it in a closed up space, tiny, and you and the dog or just cat, whatever, are just completely in a cloud of it, breathing it for an hour. You just don't want to do that. You don't want to breathe any dust. But with that said, you're just going to have a little bit of a mess to clean up and for a few days and everything. But it will work. It's going to take about 14 days to break their life cycle, because I have literally taken fleas and put them in diatomaceous earth and they die within 24 hours. They're dead. But you've got to get the fleas to crawl into the powder. So if you have fleas, you've missed a pretty good portion of your house where they're breeding and they're thriving there, and they jump on the dog. They might be new batches, because when a flea hatches eggs, it's thousands. So new batches of fleas will be jumping on your pet maybe daily for a couple of weeks till you break their life cycle. You'll start, that's why you got to keep dusting. And most of my customers have excellent success with it, but it's been really hard for me. I'm hoping the video will help to, put all that on the back of my container and, tell them everything. I do have some up on my blog posts and stuff like that, like how to use it and how it works. Is super important to know those things. But I thought a video would be super helpful for a lot of people. Anyways, I have another question I get is, okay, I've dusted my dog or my cat and they still have fleas. Do I, or flea dirt or whatever on them? Can I bathe them in 2 days? Well, you can, but you're adding moisture to the pet. You're rinsing off all the diatomaceous earth. So now that just creates an opening for one strong flea to start going again. So if you can avoid bathing them for the couple of weeks that you're going to be doing this, I would avoid bathing them. If you must bathe them, make sure that they have dried a good 24 hours and then reapply it. I do that myself because my dogs get dirty sometimes, just, rolling in the dirt and dust or they're out in the mud or whatever happens to them. But, so yes, you can reapply it. Just make sure they're very dry when you do it. Vacuuming. If you've put it down, try really hard to go several days without vacuuming. So that way, those fleas have a chance to crawl through that powder and die. If you put it down and then you vacuum it right back up, you're not doing anything. The flea has to come in contact with the powder for a significant amount of time, within at least 24 hours. Especially if it's light. If a flea gets coated in it and then goes off somewhere, and even if he's cleaning himself or whatever that they do, he is still going to die. I mean, it's just, it's very, very abrasive, and it does kill them. Now, there's controversy about, getting it wet. And getting it wet, it's still abrasive, but basically it adds life to the flea is all it does. It prolongs it and everything. But, people are like, oh, you can't get diatomaceous earth wet or it renders it useless. It doesn't render it useless. It's just not as effective because it's adding moisture to the insect and giving them more life. But in the case of like ingesting it with liquid and killing parasites, well, a worm has got the softest little outer, skin, and when you ingest it, it cuts up those worms. It kills the worms. Like they do die. And it's an excellent parasite killer. It works in 3 days. But like, you have to think of it this way too. It kills fleas. It kills ants really good. It can kill spiders for the most part. I've seen a lot of dead spiders, and I don't like killing my spiders. So you have to be very careful with diatomaceous earth. They don't even kill a bee. So you don't want, put around any pollinators or anything like that. But it's not good at killing like beetles. It killed some blister beetles, which I have a video on that for my garden, which amazed me. It really deterred them, and it kills a lot of garden pests. But anything with a really thick outer shell, like a beetle and ticks, like it's not great for ticks. It will kill ticks. I've actually put some ticks in diatomaceous earth and left them in there for 24 hours and come back and they're dead. But they have to be extremely coated. So if they're just lightly dusted and they get to go about, I don't know how long it would take to kill them. I've never lightly dusted ticks and then seen how long. But I know it does not do a good job at killing like regular dog ticks, brown dog ticks or deer ticks or whatever. But it does kill like little seed ticks, and it will kill the hen fleas. They're like stick-type fleas, so they're kind of like a tick. They attach themselves, but they must have a very soft outer shell because it will kill them too. But it kills mites, it kills, mange, the little creatures, anything that's very small, that's, biting the chickens and anything like that. And I even have a few mosquitoes that have flown into my diatomaceous earth, and I've found them just bellied up and they're dead. So like gnats and little flying insects and stuff that have come in contact with it, and they've died. So, I mean, it kills a lot of stuff. You have to be careful. There's a lot of controversy about what kind of diatomaceous earth. A lot of people don't realize, like, there's an EPA registered label and then just a regular food grade label. Usually they're the same thing. Like if you buy them from, the manufacturer, they're the same one. Just that one label is registered by the EPA to say it kills crawling insects. And then the food grade one is the exact same stuff, but it doesn't hold that EPA label. But you have to be careful, because if you go into your farm store and you go to just buy diatomaceous earth, you need to look at the ingredients and make sure, it might say active ingredient, diatomaceous earth, but look at the inactive ingredients. It should be nothing but diatomaceous earth, and it should be food grade. And usually in the farm stores, they just sell food grade and don't tell you, they don't say anything else, and it's usually just diatomaceous earth. But I have literally seen it with pyrethins and different chemicals and stuff which does help. It kind of like a 7 dust thing, it really does kill things even faster and more. But then there's the chemical in it. So I don't want that. I just want plain diatomaceous earth. You want food grade. The reason why it's called food grade is because it's been ground down. Like there's a pool grade, which is used to filter pools. And then there's a food grade. There's only 2 grades of diatomaceous earth. And they're the same diatomaceous earth, they're just ground down finer for food grade. And that, is safe to ingest. And they put it in our grains to keep out little weevils and bugs and everything at a 2% ratio. I don't know how many pounds or whatever, but it's 2% to whatever. So, it's like in our silos and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. And you can actually add it to any like prepping storage grains that you have. You can add a little tiny bit in there if you think that any bugs are going to get into it or anything. But at that point, as far as I'm concerned, if bugs are getting in it, then you're going to have rats and mice and everything else. So I'd rather have it in something that I didn't get anything in it. But anyways, it's just kind of good to know. So food grade is safe to ingest. It's safe for the pets to lick. You can lick it, and you can use it as a dewormer. You can give it to the dogs and cats for deworming them. It does work. People take it. There are thousands and thousands of reviews of people taking it, not just for a parasite cleanse, but it contains a lot of, I think, 17 trace minerals, and it's, mostly made of silica. So our bodies need silica, and so it's like super beneficial for our joints and everything. And like, I can literally take a handful of it to any of my animals and they'll lick it out of my hand. My horses love to lick it out of my hand. And they say even up where they mine it, like in Nebraska or somewhere like that, they'll have like wild horses, there'll be like deposits of diatomaceous earth, and they'll go up and lick it, and that's not even been ground down. That's like in its natural, they chew it and lick it and everything. So, I mean, I haven't found any animals that don't like it. It's like they all know it's very beneficial and good for you. But anyways, I just want to clear up on how to use it, and, the process of about 14 days of dusting continually. That's for an infestation. If you're going to use it for preventative, I use it about once a week during the hot summer months. If I go, which I don't go to dog parks or anything, but if I go to a lake or camping or something like that, I'll dust my dogs before we go. But I use a lot. I'll put my salve on there. I make 3 different salves in my shop. One I call the balm, and it's really good for ticks in fleas, but in biting everything. But to me it's the strongest that I make, pretty much. And it's so strong that I put on my label that it's horse strength, and I use it for like the biting flies on their legs and under their bellies and everything like that. And it's strong. Like, those flies will not, they're so upset, they're like buzzing all around them and they can't land, because it's just horrible. And in that I put my base, which is beeswax and coconut oil and shea butter, and then I put clove, cinnamon, peppermint, tea tree, citronella, and lavender. And what makes this, I put a lot of clove and cinnamon in it. And what I did is I made up a batch, and then I would rub it on my skin. And I got it to the point, strong with clove and cinnamon, but it would not burn me. Because clove and cinnamon will burn your skin, except and I've made it too strong before for myself. So, I finally got a really good blend that is not too strong, and it's strong enough that it's going to really keep those ticks off of them, but it's not going to burn the dog's skin. So that's important. Then I make a buzz off, which is a lot lighter. I mean, it's really good for mosquitoes and gnats and biting flies and, things like that. And it's pretty strong too, but it doesn't have the I use it on the horses too, and it works really good, but it doesn't have the clove and the cinnamon in it. So this, it starts with my base, and then it has eucalyptus, lavender, lemon oil, myrrh oil, citronella, neem oil, and Australian tea tree oil. And this is, I mean, this is great for kids. I wouldn't put the balm on kids. I just do, I put it on the dogs, like their back, down their legs, and the backs of their ears, and around their neck a little bit. I don't really get it like real thick on their skin or anything like that. This buzz off, you can do, it can go everywhere. So it's a lot better. And then I make a spray, and I call it hemp dog, but flea and tick spray. The reason why I call it hemp dog is because I do put hemp oil in it to emulsify it and also to make it stick to their coat better, which the spray to me does not last as long as the salves do. And in the spray, I do put clove oil and cinnamon oil. I put cedarwood oil, peppermint oil, neem oil, and it's pretty strong, but it won't burn them. You can kind of like saturate their skin. It doesn't really hurt them or anything. It's not quite as strong as the balm. The balm is to me the strongest. And this is great. I take this camping. I use it on myself. I spritz my clothes. I spritz the dogs before we go out and do anything. Great to spritz at night if they're going to be outside for a little while and you don't want mosquitoes. This is great heartworm preventative because you just want to prevent them from getting bit by mosquitoes. And if you have to go out in the evening, if they're going to spend any time, out, it's great to have something like that. Now, I share a lot of my recipes and everything, but I am going to make like a little ebook thing on how I make these, and I'll have that for sale on my Etsy store pretty soon. But with all the amounts and all that and everything. But for now, I just wanted to clear up a little bit of stuff about the Diatomaceous Earth. I love Diatomaceous Earth. I've been using it for so long. Absolutely love it. I take it every day. My dogs take it. They take it every day. We always have a big bucket of it sitting on the counter. Absolutely love it. It's great stuff. But with anything natural, I mean, it's not a silver bullet. It's not going to kill that stuff fast. You're not going to see a massive, result in one day. It's just natural stuff takes a little longer, which to me is awesome because I have, I've had some bad deals with using chemicals. And I'm not totally 100% against chemicals. I understand why. I mean, golly, some of these bugs are just relentless. And I have a 230-pound Great Pyrenees, and with an undercoat like you have never seen. He looks like a polar bear. And we had a big pecan tree in this yard that I was living in, and it was infested with ticks, and the tree was 100 foot tall, and they would drop out of the top of the tree. So it was like no spraying the tree. And my dogs had ticks so bad, and I was doing everything and had professionals come spray everything, and it was not working. And the other dogs with shorter hair, I was able to, keep their ticks picked off and use all this stuff, and everything worked really good. But Duke, I can't shave him because he has that pink skin. He gets sunburned and all that kind of stuff. And, he likes to be outside in the evening at least. I mean, he'd come in during the day. But I ended up having to give him those pills that you give him every 30 days, and it keeps the fleas and ticks off, until we finally moved. And now I live out in the country, and he, my chickens, I don't have no ticks, so thank goodness. We still go places every now and then where we'll pick up, some ticks, and I get rid of them pretty quick, or I make sure I don't get them that often, and I make sure I spritz my dogs really good before we go. We get sand fleas. Sand fleas and stick-type fleas. Those are the fleas that will battle. I hadn't had fleas in a couple of years, and then I babysat a dog that had fleas, and I got fleas, and it was pretty easy to get rid of them, but just took, due diligence. Just keep doing it, and you'll get rid of them. But anyways, I just wanted to touch base on that and talk about it. If you want to go to my Etsy shop or my website, or my eBay store and look at my products. I do make a feed supplement that repels fleas. Diatomaceous Earth actually kills fleas, but a lot of this stuff, except neem oil, which you can't just spray your dog full of neem oil. I mean, you can use small amounts of neem, in your concoctions, but neem is very highly toxic, and so you wouldn't want to use it at any kind of strength, But neem does kill insects. It's excellent in the garden and everything else, and it's safe. Like if you spray your vegetables, you can eat them the next day. Neem is not super poisonous. It's just it can be toxic in high amounts, so you just don't want to use that. But the flea feed supplement that I make, it does have brewer's yeast in it, and I'm not like a massive fan of feeding animals brewer's yeast just because there's yeast in it. And so many dogs that are on like a processed food diet, high corn and soy and everything, they already have like a candida kind of yeast overgrowth in their body. So the worst thing you can do is feed them more yeast. But if you have a healthy dog that's on a good diet and everything, the only thing in brewer's yeast that repels fleas is the B vitamins. And if you could find highly concentrated B vitamins for dogs, or B vitamin rich foods, which is meats and and things like that, and it's B1 really is the kicker that really repels. And this works because when I take B vitamins or B1 all summer long, and I never get bit by a mosquito. And before that, I was a mosquito magnet. So that's the only thing in brewer's yeast, which is super high in B vitamins, that is working to repel the fleas and ticks. So it's kind of a catch-22. If you got this itchy, yeasty dog and you're feeding them brewer's yeast to keep the fleas and ticks off of them, you're just adding fuel to the fire. So, you need to get your dog's diet right, get them really healthy, maybe get them some pau d'arco, which completely cleanses them of yeast and everything. Get them like on a candida or like a paleo diet or something, and get the yeast down in their body. And then if you want to introduce some brewer's yeast, it's healthy. But anyways, with that said, I could tell you about MSM real quick. In the flea feed supplement, I do feed MSM, which is a sulfur, and it's a lot like garlic, like the same kind of compound in garlic that repels fleas. And MSM it's amazing supplement for humans and dogs, and cats and horses. But I do put that in there too, but you could research that if you want. I'll put links in the description box below, and to my blog post, and to my website, and to my Etsy store, and to my eBay, and I don't know, everybody shops in different places. But yeah, and if you have any questions, you can put them in the comment boxes below, and I'll try to get them answered. I've been using Diatomaceous Earth for a decade. I've been selling it for about 8+ years, making it into all kinds of different concoctions and stuff. I absolutely love it. I'm such an advocate of it. It's like, and then essential oils and everything. I have some knowledge, pretty extensive knowledge about using essential oils. All my salves and sprays cannot be used on cats. I spray my house and stuff around my cats, but and none of these oils are like too terribly bad for cats, but cats groom too much. And if you put this salve on a cat, they would just groom it right off, and then they ingested all that, which is just fine for a dog to lick. Their livers work differently than the cats do, but you just don't want to put any kind of essential oil directly on your cat. I just think that's probably not the best thing. Their liver doesn't process, that stuff like we do and the dogs do, so it's better not to do that. Now the Diatomaceous Earth has lemongrass, neem, and rosemary powdered, which are absolutely 100% safe for cats. Cats can have a lot of powdered herbs, and they can have hydrosols, which hydrosols don't have the volatile essential oils. And those are great things for cats. You know, if you need like a lavender hydrosol or something like that for your cat, that would be fine. And there's a lot of websites that'll tell you all about certain essential oils that are okay to use on cats. So they're not 100%. I just choose not to put any on my cats, and I choose not to put them in my products for cats. So, you know, that's just me. You might want to research that and everything. But anyways, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. If you have any questions, let me know. I've got my email on my website and everything. So if you want to email me or anything like that, just let me know. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.